Twin Cities Pioneer Press. It's okay to get flu and COVID shots at the same time. 9 things to know. Have you gotten your flu shot yet? What about your COVID-19 booster? Now is a good time to get both. And yes, health officials say you can get both jabs at the same time. It's National Influenza Vaccination Week, a time when public health officials urge people to get vaccinated. And that's especially true during a pandemic. Andrea Anaheim, a spokesperson with the Minnesota Department of Public Health, says, "That is actually part of our Band Together to Protect Each Other campaign. To let people know that they can get their flu vaccine at the same time as a COVID-19 vaccine dose. It's important to be protected against both diseases to help protect yourself and others, so being able to get both shots at the same time can make it even more convenient for people. Here are 9 things the Minnesota Department of Health wants you to know about influenza in general and this flu season in particular. First, pharmacies are busy places these days. With so many people already heading to their clinics or pharmacies to get their COVID-19 boosters, Jennifer Heath, supervisor in the Vaccine Preventable Disease section of the State Public Health Department, says, "It's an ideal time to get your flu shot. And that includes kids." Anaheim says, "Anyone eligible for a COVID shot can get other vaccines at the same time, including their flu vaccine. Since pharmacies are busy right now, be persistent if you can't just walk into your usual location without an appointment." Heath says, "For walk-in pharmacies, it will be highly variable. We are well aware it's more challenging in the metro. We definitely encourage people to call ahead and use the Flu Vaccine Finder website. Even if you don't get the flu vaccine until after the holidays, it's still a good time, as we can have flu activity into March and April." Also, the Minnesota Department of Health's influenza page includes information on low and no-cost vaccine programs and clinics. Second, influenza has arrived in Minnesota. Heath says, "We have started to see flu activity. It has started nationally, and it has even started in Minnesota. Right now, we are seeing the H3 strain, influenza A. While that might not mean a lot to people, the H3 strain tends to be a little more severe and hits young children and the elderly the hardest. Third, flu is currently affecting younger people. While it's too early to make sweeping statements about this year's influenza, there is some initial data. Heath says, nationally and in Minnesota, there are cases coming up in children and young adults. We don't know why that is. It can change, but we want the public to be aware. Here's one reason why that initial data is a concern. Heath says, we also see that young adults don't get the flu vaccine, but it's definitely not too late. Fourth, flu vaccination numbers are too low. How many Minnesotans have gotten the flu shot so far this year? Not enough. Heath says, we looked at the data pretty recently. It's 1.9 million flu vaccine doses administered to Minnesotans, And what is concerning to us is that this is lower than this time last year, when it was 2.3 million flu vaccine doses. What we really want the public to understand is that we still have this window of time. It's important to still get your flu vaccine. Fifth, get a flu shot. Conserve healthcare resources. Last year, flu numbers were down, way down, as many students were learning from home and mask mandates were in effect. This year, kids are back in school. Masks are more of a suggestion in many places, and Minnesota is in the midst of another pandemic surge. That's why health officials are urging the public to band together to protect each other in its public awareness campaign. A campaign that encourages Minnesotans to get vaccinated for both influenza and COVID-19. Heath comments, in a typical flu year, we do tend to see hospital admissions go up in conjunction with flu disease. Our health system is already at max capacity with COVID. It's really important that people protect themselves from COVID and influenza. And so there's care available for other things that they might need to be hospitalized for, from surgeries to accidents. Sixth, never underestimate influenza. Heath says, one of the biggest myths about influenza, one that is so persistent, is that influenza isn't serious. Lots of times it's not, but it can be very serious. And every single year, we unfortunately see healthy people get influenza and die. I think it's a point people need to be aware of. Flu isn't something to brush off. Even if it's not a serious case, it can still keep you out of school, work, and daily life for 5 to 7 days. And I think now in the age of COVID, people understand how negatively that can impact you. Seventh, no, the flu shot doesn't make you quote-unquote sick. Some people avoid the flu shot because they dislike potential side effects. That attitude might have evolved now, somewhat. Heath says more people understand how vaccines work in general, thanks to the COVID-19 vaccine. That is, muscle aches or even a slight fever might be a sign of our immune system powering up in response to the shot, as it's supposed to do. It can be inconvenient, Heath says, but it's nothing compared to influenza. Eighth, babies need your help. Did you know that infants need to be 6 months of age before they can get vaccinated for influenza? By getting vaccinated, you are protecting the youngest and the most vulnerable in our community. It's called cocooning, or the cocoon strategy, and it's especially important for those in direct contact with a baby. Everyone in the family should get vaccinated, Heath said. Pregnant women should also get the flu shot, the health department says. Ninth, stay home if you feel sick. Finally, while everyone knows it's important to stay home if you are sick, the health department is reminding Minnesota that this is a crucial step when the flu season is ramping up during a COVID-19 surge. Staying home when you are sick is one of the best ways to prevent spreading flu or COVID or any respiratory illness, Heath says. Also, if you have any upper respiratory symptoms, health officials still recommend getting a COVID-19 test. Your healthcare provider will determine if you need an influenza test and a Tamiflu prescription.